Well, I've looked at moving because I'd like to keep more of my money too. And
where should Maher move?
I'm not.
How many people moved out of your state, California?
Oh, I know.
Under Newsom?
Yeah, no. People do move. No
Yeah.
doubt about that. There are people move in America, and you're right.
No, but they're not moving because they want a better view. They like to keep more of their money that they earn.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, Florida is a really good case study. So when DeSantis became governor, there were 250,000 more registered Democrats in Florida when he became governor 8 years ago. Now there's 1.4 million more registered Republicans in Florida. That's all migration from COVID and re-registration from COVID, 100%. Right. So it absolutely is happening.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time you heard someone say they were desperate to move to California or New York? Exactly. What you hear now is the opposite. People are running, not walking, away from blue cities at a pace we've never seen before. And it's not because they suddenly got tired of good weather or Broadway shows. They're leaving because Democratic leadership has turned once great American cities into expensive, dangerous bureaucratic nightmares, where residents pay some of the highest taxes in the country and get almost nothing in return. Bill Maher recently went off about this, and honestly, it's about time someone with his platform said it out loud. If you're here for real talk about what's actually happening in American cities, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because we're not holding back today. Let's start with the most brutal stat you'll hear all week. The current mayor of Chicago has a 6.6% approval rating. 6.6%. Let that sink in. That's not a typo, and it's not a polling error. That's not just bad. That's a full-blown disaster. Rahm Emanuel, someone who actually understands how Chicago works, pointed out that numbers like that would be unthinkable in many countries, using a dark but telling comparison to underline just how severe the failure is. And when you think about it, he's not wrong. You could pull a random person off the street, give them the job with zero experience, and they'd probably do better than a 6.6% approval rating. That's not merely poor leadership. It's a total collapse of trust between the city and the people running it. Emanuel also explained exactly why things have reached this point, boiling it down to 3 basics voters care about every single day: safe streets, strong schools, and stable finances. That's it. The entire blueprint for a functioning city. You don't need a PhD in political science to understand that.
I read that the current mayor of Chicago has an approval rating of 6.6%.
Round it up, sub.
But I mean, you were just the ambassador to Japan. If that was your approval rating in Japan, they would do harakiri on live TV.
They would do it at 27.
I mean, what's going on in Chicago?
Look, I mean, we were talking about this a little earlier. I mean, you have also the mayor of New York not doing well. Obviously, other things also here in Los Angeles not doing well, the mayor here. Look, and then you got mayors like the mayor of San Francisco and other cities that are doing well. So I would say, look, there is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those 3 things and your city's going to be fine.
People want to feel safe when they walk down their street. They want their kids to get a decent education. And they want to know their tax dollars aren't being lit on fire while the city crumbles around them. But here's what Chicago residents are actually getting instead. Rising crime that makes them afraid to take the train. Schools that are failing their kids so badly that nobody even wants to talk about it. And a budget situation that's somehow both a disaster and completely ignored by city leadership. When you can't deliver on those 3 basic things, why would anyone approve of the job you're doing? But wait, it gets worse. Because while all of this is falling apart, what has the national conversation been about? Bathrooms and locker rooms. I'm not even kidding. Rum went off on this, and he's absolutely right. We just recorded the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. 30 years. We're talking about a generation of kids who can't read at an 8th grade level. And instead of treating this like the 5-alarm emergency it actually is, we spent years arguing about pronouns and bathroom policies. Look, I get it. These are real issues for some people. But we're talking about a fraction of a percent of students while 2/3 of American children can't read at grade level. 2/3. We're a superpower supposedly going toe-to-toe with China. And we can't even teach our kids to read. How does that make any sense?
We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of the culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And our school, and I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
No, I agree.
We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. We literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level. So no more about the lot. Wait a second, I'm on a roll.